Welcome back, friends, to a beautiful Sunday on the homestead. So Sunday is one of my favorite days. It's a day I typically like to work on projects that I really enjoy, mostly working on the van. I've done four pretty major, or some of them more major than others, upgrades on the van that I wanted to share with you. First off, finally, there is a good option for a front receiver hitch on the new Transit. So let's start with that, and then we'll move on to the other three. Just look how clean and nice that front hitch receiver mount is. I've been so jealous of the Sprinter guys because there's been several options on the Mercedes to put a front hitch on there. I love having a front hitch. I've put those on my trucks in the past. You can do so many things for them. One thing that I'm finding when we went to the Overland Expo and we were spending some time in the van is things that were really lacking. You know, a lot of the things that I thought were going to be a good idea just weren't. And for one, not having bikes. To be able to ride around. And I mean, we have mountain bikes, but we never take them because they're such a burden to carry. So having a front hitch now, and I've got a fold-up front carrier that'll carry 4 bikes, now we're going to be able to do that. Not to mention, I can put my quick attach, my hitch in there. We can connect the big Anderson connector on there. I'm going to have to switch to a single motorcycle carrier so we can carry one in the back, one in the front for jackknife trips. It's just so versatile. Not to mention just a point to pull from. But check these out, and I'll bring you in close for this. So I can't take credit for this. This beautiful hitch was designed and built by my friend John at Quad Van. As you know, John does did the 4-wheel drive conversion on my van, and what I like about him is everything is like OEM spec. He is so particular. And he's a brilliant engineer. I mean, he really is. When you talk to him, you realize how smart the guy is. But he came up with a system that's just so far superior. The only other one that I've seen for these Transits is made by, I think, by Compass. And I met those guys up at the Overland Expo, and it was cool and all, but it was a huge metal plate. It was exceedingly heavy. You had to cut all of the bumper cover off, and I mean it was a major install. And when I saw it, I'm like, that's just not for me. Guys are just not considering weight with these vans. I mean, there's a GVW with these things, a gross vehicle weight. And John was telling me he's seeing vans coming out of these conversion companies that are over GVW from the factory. I mean, can you imagine the liability if there was an accident if you were doing that? So that's why I'm so fanatical about weight and why this is such a good hitch. You know, I mean, from the aluminum stuff, like this whole light bar system from Aluminess, you know, the reason why I chose this is because it's light. It only weighs about 40-50 pounds, you know, so all that stuff, you have to be really careful with it. Let's take a close-up look and I'll show you how it looks. I'll bring you up here for a closer look here. So here is the, look how clean is that. So these hooks right here, these are all tied in to the whole hitch system. These are off I think the 2019 or the 2020 F-150, like the Raptors. So a factory Ford part on there, all tied in, all, you know, like grade 8 factory bolts. It's so nice. We got a reinforced 2-inch receiver, but look how clean that is. I mean, most people wouldn't even notice it was there. Would you not think that that was a factory option, especially with the factory Ford hooks that you're going to see, you know, on all of like the F-Series trucks? I mean, I'm so proud of him and how clean it is, and it fits in there nicely. He's even, you know, went so far as, you know, just little details that John does. Like this is the radiator here, and then we have the huge turbo intercooler right back there. Yeah, that's the intercooler, and there's the radiator. And he's put a little Roman arch. Maybe you can see that in there. He's put a Roman arch in the back of that receiver so that you don't put your hitch if you're ham-fisted and mash your radiator, you know, little things like that. Also, just in addition, he's building for me full aluminum skid plates that'll protect this intercooler. I've already put a little dent in it when I hit a rock. It's a real vulnerable spot on these Transits. So I'm going to have a full-length skid plate, so it'll cover the differentials, the gas tank, the whole deal. So we'll do an update on that. But I just couldn't be happier with the way that turned out. I mean, from a distance, it's just clean. Now I have, you know, pick points, places I can winch from, just so many options. It just turned out so nice. I also wanted to show you this on that front hitch. So that front hitch, you know, rather than being like some of those cheesy ones that don't tie back into the structure, look at that. Big flat plates, angle, heavy duty that tie back into there, all back in the factory bolts. in the factory holes. So there just happened to be a big threaded riv nut or hole right there in the structure support. So that's all tied in. So that's the little things I'm talking about with John. I almost forgot the most important part. What does it cost? So here was my deal with John, is I paid full price for everything, which came out to about $500, and he put it on for me for free in exchange for me mentioning in this video. And I would have done it anyway, because it's the best, one of the only options out there, and I just think John's a brilliant engineer, and I'd like to help him out, definitely whenever I can. He's a good guy. I've really enjoyed working with him. So I don't know if he's going to ship them or not. You can call him or send him an go to their website there. It's I'll put a link down in the description, Northwest Quad Van, and you can check. Maybe he'll ship it to you. Installation, I think the guys were probably 3 hours doing that. This was the 5th or 6th, they said, van that they'd put this on, so it's brand new. Took a little extra time taking the luminous light bar off there, but you could probably figure for your first time 2 or 3 hours. Factory bolts, it's all going to be plug and play. It's a beautiful design. The way you'd have to, I can't give away all of his trade secrets. So discretion is the better part of valor, right? But to contact him, so you'd be looking at install probably $700. If you do it yourself, probably $500. So that's what it's going to cost. The second thing I just finished up is an LED license plate light. This is, of course, as you saw last week, we put the Illuminous rear bumper in the Class 5 hitch in here with the big boxes on it, and that I had to relocate the license plate. The original mount was right here, and by law, license plates have to be lit up at night. So I'll bring you in here closer to show you. So I got this really nice high quality 4 LED light that just shines on one side, and I tied it into the whole, well, I'll show you what I did here. Here you can see it a little bit better. I got the rib nuts there, so the plate will mount right there, and then will be legal, will be compliant. You have to be able to see it 20 feet back, same as the headlights from the driver's side of the car, I believe. So it all works out. But so it's so hard to do things right, man. But I really enjoy it. When I was a kid, I used to, custom, of course, always customize my vehicles. My dad's a car guy, and I definitely grew up a car guy. But when you're young, you just don't have the patience and time, and oftentimes the resources to do things right. So you do things halfway, and it kind of works and kind of doesn't work. So I'm over all that now. So I like to do things right now. That's flickering because I left the key on, charging the battery. So what I had to do is I wanted to tie it in so that when it comes on, when either the driving lights or the parking lights are on, right? Just exactly like factory. I don't want any messing around. Wanted it fused and all of that. So what I ended up doing was the factory lights were up in here. They're mounted up in there. So I pulled the whole wiring harness out, the door panel and all that stuff, and I took those bulbs out because I'm not going to be needing them. Now those are on the factory circuit up front, so there'll be a fuse in there, and it will, I can look it up and I can see that is for the license plate light, right? Now those were halogen, so they had a much higher power demand than the LED one I put in. So what I did is, as I said, I took those bulbs out, and I don't cut anything. I find the plug that plugs in there, and then reroute a shielded wire through the factory loom. So I mean, this was like a 6-hour process to do this thing, and I was grumbling at the time, but I'm so happy now. Well, actually, I have another thing. I did a shower curtain over here. I got 5 things, but took it all apart, ran all the wires inside the factory loom, so everything is done nice. Now this whole light, this backup light, is on the factory fuse using the factory wires, and if I ever needed to put it back, I haven't cut anything. I don't like to cut factory harnesses at all. So I'm proud of that. That turned out pretty good. The third upgrade we did, or the third upgrade John did, was an automatic hub switch. So this van, so when we had 4-wheel drive put on it, how it worked, it's got a full transfer case and the locking diffs and that whole deal, just like a full-size pickup, right? But like we would come down or be heading up to the mountain, and to put it in 4-wheel drive, I couldn't engage the 4-wheel drive without pulling over and stopping because of the way the hubs works. These are kind of interesting. So this is a whole front end basically out of a Raptor. And so where the steering knuckles, where they turn inside, they've got a series of ring gears. It's really an interesting setup. And there's a ring gear that fits inside of a ring gear, and that's what engages the 4-wheel drive. So it's activated by vacuum. So as you know, as an engine runs, as it pulls air into the intake manifold, it creates a vacuum, and that vacuum is used for different things. It's back in the day, they used to use it for running windshield wipers, but they still currently, I think most all cars, they use it for, that's how you get your power brakes. That vacuum brake booster that the engine produces creates that vacuum, which helps you assist to push the brake pedal, right? That's why sometimes you hear that hissing sound. So the four-wheel drive is always engaged. So if you were to completely unplug all the vacuum hoses so that it didn't work, this would be in four-wheel drive the full time. Now when the engine starts and the vacuum boosts up, providing there's not a leak, the hub, those ring gears, they disengage, and basically you have a free wheel, just like the old days where we have like a worn hub, right? You turn the hubs on the wheels and the wheels are just spinning independently of the axles and the drive shafts and all of that. So what John did is installed an electric switch, basically engaging that hub assembly with a push of a button so that I can shift on the fly. So no longer do I have to pull over to put it into four-wheel drive. We simply, when I'm thinking, okay, I might need four-wheel drive here pretty soon, I'll engage that switch, chunk, you know, it'll automatically bypass that vacuum, engage that four-wheel drive hub. Now everything is spinning up to the transfer case, and the transfer case is rated to shift on the fly. And when I'm ready and it starts getting slippery and icy, just pull the lever, clunk, we're in, and we're good to go. So that was a huge upgrade. So I'll show you how we did that. Right here under the steering wheel is where we put the switch. So this is the switch here, basically that engages the hub. So flicking this on is just like the old manual, like turning the hubs on manually. The fourth thing I did was to change the shore power plug. I do stupid things sometimes. I don't know what I was thinking. I was going for the really clean stealth van look when I was originally doing things. I don't want anyone to think, you know, that, but good grief, I got so much stuff on it now. I mean, it draws attention. I can't go anywhere without, we went out to pizza the other night, and it was really busy, and there was a parking spot right on the front on the street, and everybody kind of hangs out there, and the doors are all open. And I was out there like 45 minutes just giving tours of the van. You know, it draws so much attention, people want to know about it. So what I originally done is I got this goofy waterproof box, and I'd mounted that up underneath there, and to plug in my shore power, which charges my lithium batteries, charges the starting batteries, it converts all the AC, everything over to AC, it heats the water, you know, it's the whole deal. I had it clear up underneath there, and so I'd have to lay down in the gravel and get all dirty and have to get a flashlight at night and hook it up. It was just a pain. So I relocated that. I just put a little trailer bracket down there with a plug in it. I'm going to replace this. This is actually, I can see where it's getting hot in here because it's not a very high quality item. It looks like there's maybe even a little burning, a little brown in there. Man, I don't know. I cut corners. I should know better. I knew I should have bought a quality plug, but it was just, you know, it's so tempting. It's so cheap on Amazon that you buy them. But what good is that when it starts on fire and burns down your whole van, right? So I put it back on here, even with a high quality plug, you know, a nice good extension cord. It gets hot, and I think because maybe just the weight of this, it's just really common with RVs. So I found a marine grade plug that's got a really a latching system that locks in really nice, that's going to eliminate and stop that heat. So this was kind of temporary to try it out, and then we'll put the new one on. I'll share that with you. But at least I got it down there so I can simply, when I come home, we'll be able to lift that cover up and just plug it in real quick. I know we need to wrap this up. I've just been kind of rethinking a lot of things. It was really our first long, you know, several day trip when we went up to Leavenworth, and a lot of the things worked well, a lot of things didn't work well. Just some, I'm in the R&D session, R&D part of the program right now. So I thought that I got these cheap water cans at Walmart, and I thought, oh, those would be perfect. We could carry 12 gallons of fresh water up there. We mostly were cooking outside using the aluminum box kitchen deal, and that's working out really good. But the idea was to turn these like this, and they've got a little valve on them, but they're low quality, and they dripped and they leaked, and I'm like, I'm done. I'm done buying this cheap stuff. So I'm experimenting with these guys, these roto cans. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to mount to two. I'll do a video on this. I'm still sourcing all the material. I'm going to mount rotocans here like this so that I can turn it upside down, and I've got one in the back that would go there. So that would give me 4 gallons of fresh water. And these have a really clever mounting system that can lock. And these are like military grade cans. So anyway, more to that will come. But I'm just trying to figure sizes and configurations. You can see I'll probably put 6 gallons on top, 2 3s up there. I've got a good spot picked out. So my ultimate goal, I'd like to have 8 gallons of gas and 4 gallons of drinking water outside, plus the 30 gallons I have on the inside. So the inside stuff we don't typically drink because it's not always potable. You don't know where you're going to get it. So I've got a lot of stuff going on. I've got water filtration. I'm doing a compressor box. I was wrong about the solar. I'm going to be doing solar. So I had Luminous put together these solar brackets that will tie in with lots of stuff to come, but it's in the process where, you know, when you don't know how to do something, it's tons of research, trying to figure out who makes good panels and the right equipment and to do it right the first time and not to have something that you're going to have to change. So that's kind of where I'm at today. Good grief, I got to stop talking or I'll go on all day. So I got to get to work sourcing this solar stuff, and it's nebulous. It's just something I don't know anything about, so I'm kind of starting at the ground floor, and I don't want to make any mistakes. This electrical stuff is important, especially when you're dealing with lithium batteries and all that. I ought to just go work for a guy that does it and go help him with a couple installs for free and just help out and just to learn it, because I wish I knew more about it. In closing, I wanted to mention, because I got a ton of questions about these. Hey, what are those straps that you're always recommended, those rubber silicone ones? These are the straps right here. They're made by Voile. V-O-I-L-E. They're originally made for skis, for putting skis together. These things are awesome. They're the best straps in the world. I just ordered a 3-pack off of Amazon, and it came with, it was a good assortment. It was like a 24 and a 16 and maybe a 12 or so. I'll put a link down if you want to order those, but these things are the best. As I said, I think I've got the original ones I purchased like when I was in high school. I've never worn one out. Just make sure you get the one with the aluminum clips and not the plastic, and don't go with the off-brand ones. These are the best straps you'll ever buy. They're just good for everything because they're so sticky they don't slip. Better than a bungee cord, 1,000 times. All right. So that's it. I haven't put up, this is the first time I've been in front of the camera for 4 days. Our whole family, we got something so sick. It was maybe 5 nights ago. The Sweet Loaf woke up at 2 in the morning, throwing up and sick, and she was sick. And then Mrs. W was completely laid low for 2 days. And then it hit Jack, and I thought I was going to escape it. Then I got it, and I was in bed all day yesterday wishing for death. My goodness, I don't remember being that sick. So I haven't done anything. Even now, I'm just still crawling out of that, enjoying the living. But keep us in your prayers, and hopefully we'll come through the other side. We'll be heading down to VidCon. We're leaving Wednesday for that. If you're going down there, make sure you look us up. Look forward to meeting folks down there. We've never been, so we don't really know what to expect, but it looks fun. We're going there more for industry stuff than for screaming teenagers. Not a lot of screaming teenagers follow the channel, so and that's a good thing. Thanks for watching. We'll see you guys in the next video.